What's up, everybody? 9 o'clock, no CP time tonight.
Hallelujah.
Back live, back at it. The Good Guy Experience. And as always, it's your guy, Tyrone, a.k.a. Mr. Chocolate, whichever one you want to call me. All right, so tonight, all right, again, we got the big homie, Black Pearl. What's happening with you?
Hey, guys.
All right. We got the doctor in the house. I said the doctor is in the house. Dr. Royal Rain. Yes, sir. I'm always put respect on that doctor, right?
Always.
All right. Oh, now we got special guests tonight. Been waiting for this. All right. So I went on this gentleman's podcast, had a blast, very informative. If you look across the bottom, you can see his info. All right. So we got TJ Moore from the Real Bravado Network. All right, what's going on with you, sir?
Hey, man, thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it. It's been a couple of weeks, right? They've been trying to get me.
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah. When you're working like a Jamaican, that's we all got 14 jobs, 30 kids.
Don't y'all be talking about my West Indian people?
I'm gonna talk about you now. I'm one of you. What are you talking about? Well, I'm not one of you,
I'll give it
but
to
I'm
you.
working like one of you.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
And she came in right on time.
I'm just like Candy.
So this is a blast from the past. My homegirl Candy is back. All right, we got her back in the house to give her commentary for tonight.
Dark.
Yes, you do, boo.
Oh yeah, darkness.
This how you know I ain't done this in a while. Hold it.
All right, so how's everybody doing? Everybody's week's going good,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are y'all recovering from Valentine's Day?
Don't even talk about it.
Me, Valentine's Day, we don't really, at my house, we don't really celebrate it like that. We don't really do the corporate holidays too much. I watch people kind of drone it out, going and buying stuff because I told them to, but I take care of my people all year round. So
I am a hopeless romantic, and Valentine's Day just doesn't do it for me. So
yeah, it's like it's commercial for me. It's a little commercial. So I'm more of a do it outside of that kind of guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Candy, where'd you go, girl?
I'm trying to get some light.
Trying to get that light right.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I see people running around stressed out. I seen I was in Harris Teeter, and I seen dudes. They were like looking like, bro, what's this, Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, what is going to happen if you don't bring the right flower home? I'll be bad for people.
Actually, I went to a store and this guy was like on the phone on speaker, and the girl was just like, this is important, and how are we supposed to build and I'm like, and this is why this doesn't work. If it's just that one day or the one anniversary that makes you react like that, there are deeper problems.
Right.
But what do I know?
If I can give up the rest of the year for that one day, I'll take it.
Really?
Yeah.
Look, you know how much money and thought and energy and planning and trips and dinners and dates all year long.
Yeah, but
if I can get away with just one day a year, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One day a year for TJ. Okay.
1 day a year. Yep. I'll take it.
He said he go hard to go home on a 1 day.
He just wants the playoffs. He doesn't want all the days up to
No, I don't want no Christmas, no birthdays, no anniversaries. I want no Mama's Day. No, I don't want to do anything.
I am not mad
y'all,
at you.
Man, y'all women, y'all cost too much. I swear, if a dude is in a long-term relationship with y'all, he should be able to claim y'all as a dependent.
Boy, that's a show right there. Don't start. That's a show right
there. Hey, speak on it, because
I'm just saying, man.
But all the days, man, end up being about
women. I think men are needy.
Yeah,
man, I started I started looking at the money I spent the last day on just, making her smile, whatever. I stopped counting because I started getting mad when I started seeing all that money. I was like, you know what? I don't even need to know how much that been. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit imbalanced, man, with the holidays because, even like the anniversary is like,
wait,
when are you getting me for the anniversary? Like, what?
Yeah, because see,
wait a minute. So you're saying
not
that
like that?
Yeah, that's something like
Pearl and I are not like that. So
not like
I'm
that.
just listening. I'm like, wow,
equality, reciprocity.
Like, I'm talking about the overall. Like me, like now, luckily, I married, somebody who's more in tune with what I'm in tune with, so she don't trip as much as I'm seeing. I'm talking about other people I'm seeing in my circle, and it's just like they're wilding, man. They're wilding. So I don't know.
I'm a firm believer in what you do to me, I do to you.
Absolutely.
In every shape or form.
That's not the common theme.
When you say the key word is reciprocity,
in the
absolutely.
modern,
there's a lot of sponsorship out there. I apologize.
Well, he said these streets are kind of treacherous from what I'm seeing. I don't know. I'm not seeing that, but
I mean, I'm gonna take it back to Betty Wright. I think that's her name, the one who said, "When you're getting flowers, you got to figure out why you're getting them." Are you? So yeah, I know I went way back with the age, but I'm just saying.
Don't blame Mr. Charlie.
Yeah.
Lord, not Betty Wright. We saw that jukebox music, man. That's the jukebox music right there.
That's right. All right. So, did we ask TJ to tell us a little bit about the Bravado Network?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's what we about to get to. We about to get into some info on the Bravado Network. So explain to us what you got going on, where we can see you, where we can hear you. Let's get that promo going.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me again. This has been fun. We're on YouTube, and we're the Real Bravado Network, and it's kind of funny when I see people try to they look at it and they try to pronounce this. Bravado means bold. One of our taglines is that we're to be bold and not silent. That's one of our taglines that we do. But what we primarily do over there is talk about Black relationships, and we deal with it from an image perspective. So, of course, the image perspective comes from our dearly departed Kevin Samuels, who was all about image, but he was all about image and how from a fashion sense. I'm talking about it from a perspective of how we interact with one another and the messaging that we send to each other, and then what we send to the world, and how they treat us. So. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. The platform is broken up into a couple different phases, and we started with dealing with just issues related to our women that keep them single. So we spent quite a few months of that, and in the last couple months now, we've been dealing with the guys. But the guy stuff is a little bit different. It's starting to transition into more of a asking our women for grace and mercy. Because the more we start getting into the stuff related to the guys and the things that we contribute, the more we're starting to really come to realize is that a lot of guys are just now starting, especially Black men, are just now starting to come to understand that as a group, we're probably not the best men that we should be. Because if you're between the ages of 25 and 55, 80% of us did not have men in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Did not have men that actually cared enough to teach what manhood's supposed to look like. And we are, I don't want to call it, we're the victims of our mothers. We're not victims, but we have been imprinted on by our mothers. We have our mothers imprinted. So I tell ladies a lot of times, that's why when you are interacting with a guy and themes seem a little bit off about him, or the energy that you feel from him seems a little familiar, because it's female imprinting. How we respond when you see these irrationally everybody's emotional, but when it's an irrational emotion from a guy, understand it's because of his female imprinting. He can't help that. His mother taught him, he figured out how to handle conflict, make decisions the same way his mother did.
Or avoid conflict.
Or avoid conflict, or the accountability factor. I'm not trying to knock our ladies, but y'all play really good dodgeball with accountability.
Yeah, we
And,
talked about
and
that.
Where were
We
you
talked
2
about
shows
that.
ago,
Yeah.
Bravado?
Yeah, we
Yes,
talked
but
about
now
that.
you see it, but now you got guys of our generation.
Yeah.
They do the same thing, and it just the cycle of frustration. So where we're moving now with our guys is, yeah, we're dealing with the issues that the guys have, but we're asking our women for grace and mercy because they don't know. We don't know. I got into a big old argument with my sister about that the other day. She was like, "Y'all know." I told her, I said, "No, your own brother is telling you that we didn't
It's
know."
hard to believe sometimes, though.
It's
It is.
regardless if it's hard to believe or not. That's if we want to fix or begin to fix for the next generations, we're going to have to accept some things that we're not that we're uncomfortable accepting. One, your men don't know. And then the other thing that our men are going to have to accept, which is going to be very hard, we're going to have to accept that most of us are going to have to come in and become stepfathers. There's not enough there are not enough childless black women left in this country for black men. There's not.
Yeah, I tell guys that all the time, man. Like
So
people talk about like the female wall, but there's that male wall where you're gonna have to be a stepdaddy wall. You wait too long to step in there.
If you're over 25, if you're a black man over 25, you're gonna be a stepdaddy.
You gotta be a stepdad, bro.
I mean, if you want a black woman.
So
you gotta make more money.
do you think that we can, since it goes with our topic today, could you say that
definitely.
a lot of those relationship challenges come from a toxic mother, or a majority of them come from a toxic mother?
Yes.
Or a toxic mother, you called it an imprint, and that's what I said. There are some toxic things that are passed down and then continue on.
Well, female nature that's imprinted on the male children in itself is toxic because that's not what that's not supposed to be their imprinting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, there needs to be a balance.
Yeah. So I even talked about, I did a 2-part stream when I was wrapping up the stuff about our ladies. I called it Queen Mother. And I was talking about in that stream with Queen Mother, I spent a lot of time talking about the emasculation of the man. You can have a 50, 60-year-old man walk in his mother's house and still be treated like a child and not like the man of the home, like the man he's supposed to be. And then you'll see him revert back to that, to that in the face of in black culture, in the face of mother, a grown, solid man, even a man with his own family, will revert to a lesser position, and he shouldn't. And it doesn't happen in any other culture.
Well, so often we talk about the deadbeat dad and what happens to the woman when the man is not around, but we never talk about the toxic mom. And what's a toxic mom?
Right.
She's often self-centered. She's often an emotional loose cannon. She overshares. She doesn't know how to set boundaries. She lacks those boundaries. And then she criticizes in a very harsh nature, right? And sometimes that's her baggage that she's letting off on that son. Even the daughter. On the show, once I talked about, you have mothers that make their son their best friend and tell them too much stuff. Or you have the mother that tells the child that he's the king of the house, and that subliminal message is, you don't have to do anything but show up, and you're the man. And then the one that you take out your disappointment in your relationships on, you're just like your daddy, you're not gonna, and all of those things men carry on to the next person. Women do it too. Women, there is a toxic mother-daughter relationship also. It's just, I think we see it more with men, and us as women go, well, why is he like that? And it's exactly, to me.
I had to confront that head on a few years back with my daughter's mother. She has at the time, he was like an 8 or 9-year-old boy, and her mother, I'm sitting there and I'm holding my baby is like a baby at this point. I'm just sitting there holding her. And both of those ladies, the grandmother who should know better, 7 years old, and my daughter's mother, they're sitting there and they're just trashing men like it was no regard. And the little boy is sitting laying on the floor playing with like a little game thing. And I'm sitting there and I finally just said to the grandmother, and I said, do you guys not realize that you guys got a boy in this house?
Mhm.
Do you not realize that one day that boy is going to be, and I say that right in front of him so he can hear me. Do you not realize one day he's going to become a man? What kind of man you think he's going to become when in his home, the two people supposed to love him the most don't believe that he's going to be worth anything?
Absolutely.
And I said, and then I'm personally offended because I'm sitting here not in a relationship with you, but I'm sitting here changing diapers and coming out of town, taking off work 4 or 5 days in a row to sit in the house by yourself so you can go to work, or your grandmama, you can get a break with a newborn that I don't know nothing about. Well, I know it's mine, but I'm just talking about, men don't know how to take care of no baby. Really? I said, I do that. I said, it's offensive. I said, you guys need to be careful about what you say around this little boy.
Absolutely.
I don't think that they think that deeply, though, TJ. I have 2 sons and a daughter. And this is ironically just happened. I was driving with my kids and I said something like a comment about their father who's not active. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. And my daughter literally said, I wish you would be more disrespectful to show, I'm just being honest with you. And I'm like, why? She goes, you never say anything bad about our father. You do not go in on him. You don't. And I'm going to be honest, that is a choice I made in my 20s. Yeah, it's a choice I made in my 20s. I'm being very honest with you. I literally made a conscious choice and said to myself, if he is as bad as I feel that he is right now, they will see it for themselves.
Yes.
But it's not for me to go in because guess who chose him?
You did.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think as women, we forget to go, I made the choice to be here. I'm not making it any better by making it my child's fault, business, anything, because that child is still made up of 2 people. And every time I go in on that person, no matter how good or bad they are, I am subconsciously telling my child, you are not worth anything.
And then also what I tell ladies too a lot, and I get a lot of pushback about this, a little bit on those lines. When you make that decision to give that man a child, and he's not up to doing it, what is the message you're sending to the guy that's actually up to doing it?
True.
Because the highest honor a woman can give the highest honor that any woman can give a man is to give him a child. So if you're saying that he was worthy of the highest honor, what does that say about the guys that are actually worthy of it and they're not getting it?
Well, it says it to you. It's what you say about yourself if that's who you chose.
Yeah.
To do that. Okay, I can hear you now, Candy. I couldn't hear you before, Candy.
Okay. But that comes back to what you're taught. Do you have some mothers that are scared to have that conversation with their daughters about how to go about choosing the right man? They don't talk to us about, hey, save yourself for marriage and make sure you choose this person, the right person to go into your womb. Really, you ain't even supposed to be doing all that before marriage, but some mothers are scared to have that conversation with their daughters.
Well, I think because a lot of them are still living that life. Excuse my language, we old ass women out here still, you're 50 years old talking about a hot girl summer, and you got a 30-year-old daughter, and y'all out there. What can you say to her when y'all live in the same life?
Exactly, because like my oldest daughter is 14, and this is the first time I'll be 36 next month. So this is the first time that I had experience where she was expecting something for Valentine's Day. And so I was telling her, I was like, well, if he didn't bring it on Valentine's Day, don't you dare accept it the next day, because you should be more important.
Not the next day, Valentine's gift.
That's supposed to be Side Chick Day. Ain't that Side Chick Day?
No, Side Chick Day is the day before.
Oh, it's okay, I didn't know that. Okay,
I said the reason why I'm saying that is because if she accepted that gift today, that's saying, oh, well, I'm just gonna take whatever you give me, or I'm gonna just accept that I wasn't that valuable.
14.
Yeah, I didn't tell. I literally. Okay, so I have
the
a daughter.
boy is 13 or 14.
Yeah,
He might not got his allowance yet. You know the mama waiting on that child support
no, I'm gonna
check.
tell you what he did. I'm gonna tell you what
I'm
he
dead.
did.
Did you just say?
Tell you what he
It's
did.
facts though.
He took pictures of what he brought her, but he hadn't brought it here. And I was willing to put my mom defense mode and say, okay, he did ask politely, could he come and give her her gifts? I didn't want to do that. But if you don't somewhat, I'm not gonna say compromise, they're gonna sneak and do it behind your back. So I was like, okay, he can come. But I can have my grandma intentions in me, like if he don't come before 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever, he ain't getting up in here.
He's 14.
But,
he gotta
Well, I'm
wait
gonna be
for a
honest
ride.
with you. That was not my focus when my daughter was 14. That's not what you worried about. There's more to life than that. Stop doing that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing what you're doing, so don't take it that way. I'm just saying in my world, no, not yet. I know we got little boyfriends and blah blah blah. I get it.
I understand what you're saying, but this day and time, from the stuff that she shows me what they do at school, she done been in front of people in class. A girl is giving a boy oral sex behind class.
Hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
It's
I'm
not.
out there.
Listen, I went
So
to
hold
school.
on, guys. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Candy. Look, we getting off topic. I got to bring us back center, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to interject real quick because I got to bring us back. That's what the doc do. I bring y'all back. So
Yeah.
okay. So for the audience, the topic is toxic mothers. So
Right.
I would like to frame and provide some references, film or otherwise, frame what a toxic mother looks like. Okay, I'm gonna give the audience some examples. Okay, first and foremost, and I got a few, but I'm gonna throw them out here. The movie Antoine Fisher. If you all remember Antoine's guardian, right? And every time he came through and it was some incest stuff going, there was a whole lot going on in that family. But when she saw him, she referred to him as the N-word. Do we not remember this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Precious. Little Gabourey Sidibe. And I know I'm tearing that baby's name up, but Gabby, who played Precious. We saw how Monique in that film is truly a toxic mother. She was jealous, which is a characteristic of a toxic mother. She was jealous of her daughter for various reasons. Also, she had her own personal traumas, right? Then we got I'm gonna go to the opposite side for a moment because I'm not gonna focus on one particular group. So let's look at Home Alone. Y'all remember
Alone.
Yes, stay with me. Do y'all remember little Macaulay? That little boy, bless his precious heart, Macaulay Culkin. I think that's how you pronounce that baby's name.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin.
Think about how his parents treated him in not only one, but two, and I think it was 3 of them joints. What? Yeah. Anywho,
that's considered the cold mother syndrome.
Hold on, boo. I got you. That's why I want to put this thing in a frame. I got to frame it for it. Okay. So we're talking about, that's an example of a toxic parent situation because it was both mama and daddy, both of them were toxic. Then again, I'm gonna stay on my blue-eyed soul over here. Mommy Dearest, do y'all remember that from way back when? No wire hangers.
Yeah.
That young lady, that child, and her mother displayed toxic mother syndrome. Okay. So I want to kind of throw it out there in these contexts, just to put it in a frame for our audience. When we're talking about toxic mothers, what exactly we are talking about, and then take in consideration, as we've already discussed, in reference to the implications that it has on our children, whether it's female or male. But ultimately, we are causing our children anxiety, post-traumatic stress,
Depression.
We're causing all anxiety. We're causing all of these mental health illnesses.
Yep.
Because of, as women, our own personal traumas that were never resolved. And
exactly.
so what ends up happening is we're transferring it, and I'm use TJ, Mr. Bravado's word, like we are stamping them, we're making that imprint on our children. And then what tends to happen is that cycle continues and continues, because that's what I heard earlier, with the example, TJ, that you gave, where that young man is hearing these negative things. And that's what we're talking about. And that's the concern. And so my question is for the panel, how do we transcend? How do we make a difference? Or is it possible to make a difference? What if case in point, what if you are a product of a toxic mother? Where do you go from this point?
Therapy.
You have to heal. Once you acknowledge that you're the product of a toxic, that's it. It's not. It doesn't belong to your mother.
How do you know? Because this is part of you. We talked about that.
Dr. Rain, you're absolutely right.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know?
How do you know?
I did a stream last night, and Miss Black, proud of me to step on you, but I did a stream last night, and it was a very personal stream because it was back over my shoulder. You can see the burdens of Black men. Mm-hmm. Can you see that on back there? So that was my stream last night, and one of the things that I said about myself before I become awake and aware is I knew that I knew. So it didn't matter that I knew that I knew, and that was false. But for me, through and through, I knew that I knew. Meaning I knew that what I was, where I was right. Mm-hmm. And I made the statement, I said, I was about 30 years old. I did not realize that when it didn't happen in that moment, because it took another almost 10 years for it to evolve, but I ended up having a conflict with my grandfather, my dad's father, who I had just met my father and my grandfather a year prior. So a year me knowing them, then I had a conflict with my grandfather. Mm-hmm. My grandfather didn't engage. He looked at me. He said, I can't talk to you. You argue like a woman. Wow. And he just talking about something that, first of all, it should have shook me, but instead I responded the way I knew, because I knew. I responded the way that I was imprinted on how to deal with conflict, which was the way my grandmother dealt with conflict, which was I heard a boxing bell in my head. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. And not recognizing male authority. But that day, was the day that I deemed the start of an awakening. And a lot of us Black males do not understand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Until there's something that bumps up against it aggressively, that that was his way of saying something was off about me. He didn't know how to say that. Man was born in the 40s. You know what I mean? Right. Mm-hmm. Their way of interacting with folk, they, in his mind, he just saw me combating with him like a woman. But thank God I had the maturity enough to understand over time that something was off.
Mm-hmm. I think my experience is different than TJ's. So I was in the middle of my abusive marriage, and it looked familiar, but I couldn't identify what was familiar about it. And I think because I was trying to think to myself, okay, here I am getting choked out, getting all this other stuff. Why? I've never seen it. I grew up with a mom and dad. Everyone in my family is married. But this felt familiar. And one day, I'm going to be a little graphic, but I was on the floor. My hair is like in all this grease because we broke like plates and stuff. And it all came to me. I was looking for acceptance and love that looked like what I was looking from my mother. And it all of a sudden made sense. Like, she wasn't physically abusive, but there was that emotional, like, nothing was ever good enough.
Right.
But in front of everybody, I was a star because they would say, "Oh, that's your daughter. You made her like that." But never did I get that acknowledgement behind closed doors when we're together.
Mhm.
It was in that moment I had to go, dude, I can't.
Mhm.
What will hurt worse than being
Yeah.
here choked out on the floor, watching my daughter somewhere else getting choked out on the floor? But for years, I didn't see it. It was
Mhm.
normal to me. It was
Mhm.
the most normal thing in the world until that moment. And then I started to have to peel things back. It wasn't easy. It's hard because I had to keep going. This is not a red flag anymore. It has to be a deal breaker because I can't even skate around it. So I went through years of an abusive marriage to go, I'm just repeating a extreme version of what I went through with my mom. So mine was a little different. I just assumed because I had a mom and a dad that everything was perfect.
Right.
And that's literally, so I had a mom and dad, so I was good. I wasn't raised with a single mom. I still had those issues. So that's why I said mom was a little different.
Well, it's interesting because in 2008, y'all know the doc do research. So in 2008, there was this study, and I know it's kind of old, but just go with me. So in 2008, there was this study that was conducted on this particular topic. And at that point in time, in 2008, 25% of the 25% of those that participated in this study had indicated that they had a toxic mother, and 15%, right, and that was 2008. So you see where, because usually the trajectory keeps going up. And then in 2008, 15% of men were deemed as toxic fathers in this study. So I say that post-pandemic, well, I say post-pandemic, but post-pandemic, like a lot of things and dynamics have shifted, not only from a standpoint of the years, but just even with regards to the pandemic. You know, we're seeing more rise of mental health and different stuff going on amongst our youth, right? So this brought more light to me, because oftentimes, and those of us that are in the school system or have worked in the school system, or just community period, it is so interesting to me, and it really pisses me off, to be honest with you, when we have mothers transferring their issues and their manipulation, because there's manipulation involved in this too, onto their children, and especially the males. And then I'm going to say God forbid, because God forbid, what happens is, as the child grows up and they realize, my dad was always absent, but he really wasn't absent. It was the mama making and shaking some stuff, right? And so what happens is this child grows up feeling some kind of way. And so then when his behaviors begin to manifest, and maybe he started being disrespectful to his mom, maybe he pushing mama, maybe he, manifesting, TJ, like you said, when you heard your granddad make that statement, you heard those boxing bell rings, right? That's what happens. And so when these young men start wilding out, then all of a sudden, either you need to go to your daddy. Well, hell, how you supposed to go to your daddy when the baby don't even know the daddy? Because I'm trying not to cuss so bad, y'all. But it pisses me off. It really does. But you understand what I'm saying? How are they supposed to go over there when they don't even know, because you manipulated a situation that created this? And or what they'll do is, when they get to the dad and realize, because truth is revealed, then what you planned for evil end up flipping around for the good for the daddy, because then guess what? That child begins to resent the mother for playing these games. So that's
which affects self-image all over again.
Absolutely.
So wouldn't that be the same for the mother that has children but puts them off on someone else to take
Absolutely.
care of them? Because that your first foundation of what's supposed to help you build your image, build who you are, understand what love is like, nah, I'm gonna send you out this way. Yep. I think we live in a society where we think money is enough. This is why we're so hard pressed on child support. This is why we're so hard pressed on, I can't take care of my kid, but I'm sending them money. And then we have children who look for love through 3D or material items or sponsorship in relationships, right? I'm like, the first person that's supposed to love you is putting you off on someone else and sending you some money, or putting you off on someone else and giving you a weekly call. And now we're chasing relationships that look like that. We're chasing men, we're chasing women that fill in the gap because we never really got that foundation. So I feel like toxic parenting comes in so many shapes and forms. And at the end of the day, it's, are you accountable for the life that you created?
That part.
I know I see it a lot dealing with young men, in coaching. You see a lot of this stuff where guys, they accountability is not a thing. Nobody's accountable anymore. And and a lot of that comes from home. A lot of these guys, a lot of mothers, it seems like they want their son to be their boyfriend.
Yes.
And it's this weird son boyfriend thing.
Yes.
And these guys come up all crazy because they feel, it's weird, man. It's just this weird stuff where the boyfriend son thing. I see it a lot dealing with young men, just being overly emotional, like just violent to the point where I think I mentioned it on your show, Bravado, how a lot of these guys get raised by women. And they're like just overly emotional, and the violence is seen as
love,
as bravado, or masculinity, but it's really just feminine, just overly emotional stuff.
Yeah, that's why I had my sister told me, she was like, everything always comes back to the mother's fault. I said, no, it's not the mother's fault. It's the imbalance of having strictly the mother.
Right.
I said, when you got a male, biologically, we always, you hear all this stuff about, women, we want to be equal, We're not equal.
We're not.
Biologically, we're not equal. When you got a 22-year-old, 18-year-old, 25-year-old man with all that testosterone, but he has all of that female emotional imprinting, that is a nuclear bomb, a walking, talking nuclear bomb. It's going, you know what I mean? Especially when he has not been taught how to manage that. I got emotions. Tyrone got emotions, but we have had to be taught how to regulate that. Let me tell you something, because I was raised with my grandmother, and it's only the last 10 years that I've actually understood, but it's been a slow process. I still at times lose it because that's not my default setting, is to regulate. My default setting is to go completely off. I joke sometimes with people, I tell them all the time, when I'm trying to navigate conflict, and I'm trying to back somebody down verbally, you know what I mean? I'll tell them, and I'm dead serious when I tell them this. I say, listen, me trying to negotiate with you, this is the hard part for me. You have no idea that my instincts want this smoke. I tell them all the time.
Yeah.
Me being cordial, me trying to work something out with you, me trying to be an adult, that is my second language. It ain't my first. I tell people this all the time, and I tell them, now you can continue down this path, and then I will revert. Not because I want to revert, it's just that's my default. I've learned now to move differently. You know what I mean? And it's actually quite exhausting for me to try to control that, for me not to want to rage out. You know what I mean? Right. But that's the way it is. Yeah. With a lot of our young. So when you see this explosion of these young men, it's not. And I won't even say that. I would even at times. The word toxic is probably one of the most overly used words in our lexicon right now. But our ladies,
cliche. I agree there.
Yeah, our ladies, when they've made decisions regarding the men that they decide to have children with, and they know that they've made a mistake, and then a woman's nature is to dodge accountability, and then you take, in fact, her emotional factor in the fact that she's failed, and the fact that she's stressed out. She has to work 1.5 jobs. She has kids with that has emotional issues. That woman's gonna wild out. And guess how that boy's gonna interpret that? He's gonna wild out. So toxic motherhood, but we as a collective, as a Black group, we've done. I'm getting kind of lost in we've accepted behaviors, we've made choices, we've made choices and decisions that are generational, even for us. There will be generational repercussions based on the decisions that we have made, based on what we have. But at some point, one of these generations, either it's Generation X, Gen Y, either us or the millennial or Gen Z, is going to have to just come to a full stop and reset.
I think
I'm advocating for us because we're old enough to remember a rotary phone and no internet.
Why are you telling our age, TJ?
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
And so look. Let's keep it a buck. If you Generation X, Generation Y, basically you were born between 1970 to about 1985. We're the last group of Black folks that literally saw married couples, married fathers. Because our grandmothers and great grandmothers were married. Some of us came out of married homes. We were the last generation to see how that worked and how it should work. That's why I say, I said last night on my stream, I said, even if our generation can't produce any more heirs, we still should get together because we can be the catalyst of it. We still should get together.
Right. So TJ, you said you had a child, correct?
Yes.
Is it a son, daughter?
Yeah, I wish I had a boy because I want to practice what I preach on this. No, I got a girl. My grandfather is like, be glad you got a girl, because my grandfather has 5 boys. He don't have no girls. He gets. I don't get no sympathy.
So, do you teach your daughter these things? That's what my question is.
Listen, my daughter's 8 years old. Let me tell you something. What happened about a month ago, and I about fell over. When she says to me, she goes, I'm always talking to her about what I want her future to look like. I'm always talking about what I want her future to look like. And so one day, and she goes, I'm not gonna have a husband because I'm gonna have enough money. I go, what? I knew immediately where that came from. With this 8-year-old, I knew it. I said, what? She goes, wouldn't you like that if I didn't have anybody? And I looked. I said, baby. I slowed way down. I said, baby, what will break my heart if you turn 30 and you don't have a husband who loves and will care for you close to similarly how I care for you? That to me will be a failure of me if you're turning 30 and you ain't got no husband, but you got some kids. And I got to say this to an 8-year-old. And the look, I said, I don't dislike your mom, because my daughter understands that there's not a good. I said, I don't want you living like your mother is right now. I want you better. I want you to get an undergrad degree in economics. I want you to go.
You done made the blueprint.
I said, I want you to
go ahead and plant that seed.
I said, I want you to go to Columbia to get an economic degree in economics. I want you then to go on to Stanford or Yale and major in finance. I want you to go work for a hedge fund. I want you to, by the time you get to grad school, I want you to have found your husband while you're in college. I want y'all to go together. I want you to find the best guy that's the kindest, who's aggressive with building a family. Get with that dude. And I said, and then 5 to 10 years later, build me a house in y'all compound in the backyard. So your that's what I want.
Well, I asked you that because, I've already said I have 3 kids, and my sons go through, probably more my younger now, because my older son is in a relationship. He'd been in it for 2 years, but
how old is he?
He's 21.
Okay.
Him and his girlfriend are graduating at the same time, so it goes for your little blueprint plan you got. you have and then my oldest daughter, she's about to graduate with her master's, and she's like, okay, I need to find someone on my level, you know.
Well, tell your daughter to stop talking like that.
Well, there you go. So
Because
go ahead.
I'm sorry, what does she mean by on her level?
That has that passion to educate, to do better. That's not like, I don't need anyone, I could be alone. Someone who wants the same things that she wants, meaning a family. Like, I don't want to be single. That was my child that was 7 that said to me, Mommy, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to go to so that's what she means by
your master's degree daughter. Do you know how she selects her mate? What criteria does she use to select a guy?
The criteria that she used has me telling her go to therapy. How about that? That's my answer. She is aware that she needs to heal.
Yeah,
because
still. I have no qualm that a woman wants an educated man, but educated is relative.
I don't think it's educated. She wants someone who's passionate about being
has goals.
Yeah, has goals. It's not. She doesn't need someone with a master's.
Would she be happy with a pretty decent black guy who's passionate about being a case manager and serving his community?
Absolutely.
And you know
all
that
of my kids don't have
that income tops out at about 45 a year. Is she okay with that?
She's not chasing money. She's chasing passion.
Right.
Okay. You get what I'm saying? Because she sees examples of that. So she's definitely not money hungry. That's not what it is. But she doesn't want to be with someone who is trying to be a rapper, or someone who's like, my mom didn't even know who my dad was, and like that. She doesn't want that. She wants someone who is goal oriented.
Yeah.
So it's
the language that I would encourage you to take out of her lexicon is on my level, because that gives the impression that somehow she's above her guy, and she's not. What she should replace it with is, I need to find a guy that I can look up to, that I can respect.
Understood. That is very good.
Yes.
Guidance. Sorry.
I tell any guy, and I tell a guy, you got to get a woman who looks up to you. If you do not get a woman who looks up to you, you're done.
Yeah.
Women, you got to get a guy.
That man, that's not gonna work either.
Yes. And women, you got to get a guy that you look up to. That translates into respect, because you don't want a guy that you think that you
got a big sword.
Well, since we're talking about toxic mothers and imprints, a lot of times the challenge is finding a man that actually wants to lead instead of be led, which comes from wherever you came from.
And that's where I talk about our women is going to have to show some grace and mercy, because according to Dr. Rain, blackdemographics.com, which is I'm dubbing that the statistical Bible for black folks. 54% of black men are single and childless. That means, and they earn enough money to be considered middle class, which is $45,000 a year. So that means that the average black man is a caseworker, is a police officer, is a teacher, is a social worker, is a nurse, is a store manager, is a truck driver. These are the incomes. A lot of times we look at the money, but we don't look at what the money is attached to, and the jobs that are attached to. So you're gonna have to find one of those guys, and you got to understand that he's not going to be fully built there yet. And that's where the grace and mercy comes in, because Black Pearl, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. But here's the thing: if the majority of black guys are single, child, has got enough money to be in the middle class, if you want a long-term relationship, you want another. I'm just saying, I'm just being projecting. Want another husband? He's got to come into you with grace and mercy, because you're bringing 3 other children from a violent man. That requires grace and mercy. So not every man, he might be a good guy, but his manhood and his leadership might not be developed yet. I'm 45. I just started understanding this 5 years ago.
And I understand that. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not chasing income.
Yeah. I'm not talking about income, talking about the leadership piece. I understand that most of us.
Well, when I say leader, I'm I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not looking at a man like, oh, you need to be a stepdad. I want that to be natural. But when I say leader, meaning they're looking for a woman to play the role that they should be playing. And so it's challenging. And oftentimes the thing that you're not mentioning is that becomes a fear factor, and you run to what you're used to your comfort zone, which is not the grace and mercy that you give them. It's that what looks familiar, the toxicity, the controlling, the boundary break. And that, I think, is my experience. Like when I say I don't find a man that wants to play that role, it's when they get to that woman that is giving them the grace and mercy, that is showing some of the non-toxic traits, because I know I'm not perfect, but some of those non-toxic traits, they run because they're so used to the comfort zone of the toxicity. So it's on both sides.
Yeah, I never said we weren't screwed up.
I'm
talking about all of us.
So let me for a second. So Candy, I know you're single, and well, I think you're single.
Yeah, I'm single.
Well, she's not married.
Yeah, you're not married. Okay. Yeah, and I ain't talked to you in a minute. I ain't no surprises, but so what's your what's your story on it?
I'm kind of, well, like I said, I'll be 36 next month. It took me maybe 3 years ago to realize what TJ been saying all night about. It seems like I from my experience, I have always played the masculine role in a relationship. I'm the go-getter. I'm the hustler. I take care of everything, but I wasn't tapping into my feminine side. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I go get my hair done, nails done, makeup, but far as in the inside being showing that femininity in me, I won't do that because I always seen my grandmother be that strong person, and my granddad just did whatever my grandma wanted him to do, and just to avoid hearing her mouth. Mm-hmm. I never saw them be affectionate. Only thing that I kind of saw them showing each other love was on Sundays. My granddad would drive her to town, and they'll go get ice cream.
Aww.
Far as my parents,
if you want to see your granddaddy be affectionate, let somebody mess with his wife. You'll see how affectionate he is.
Honey.
Right, yeah.
I'm just saying like that.
Right. But far as my mother and father, they stayed together until I was about 7, 8 years old. So my dad, he showed me how a woman supposed to be courted. On Fridays, my dad made sure we had our hair done, took us shopping. He took us on dates on Saturdays, and Sundays we went ate Sunday dinner with my dad's mother or either at my mother's mother. Mm-hmm. So he set that foundation when I was a little girl, but as I got older, we all go for those bad boys, the dope boys, and just get tired. And when I went to college, I wasn't told, this is a time where you need to be getting your education and finding you a mate. I was told you need to be getting your degree so you can make money, so you can take care of yourself. I had a child at 21. So my mindset was being a mother and taking care of that child. So I really didn't understand, like he was saying, like dating somebody that you always say, oh, I need me a man that's on my level. But you're manifesting that you be more than that man. It took me till I was 30-something to realize that. And now, I've gone through my healing process. I took it upon myself to go to therapy to better understand, to unlearn the toxicness that I was in. Mm-hmm. To understand, so that way I can get rid of that and implement the correct way. And it's not easy. It's hard. Mm-hmm. And dating now is trash.
Those are my exact words. Oh my God.
It is. Very much so.
Glad I don't have to do it.
You look. But anyway.
Lucky you.
Yeah. But the reason why I say it's trash, okay, let's take these female rappers. They up here telling young girls get that money. It's hot girl summer, but y'all ain't letting up on y'all men. Yeah,
That's true.
y'all not really living that hot girl summer life in reality, but you're teaching our young ladies this is the lifestyle you should be living, but that's not what you're really doing.
Well, you know,
You're used to using, then when you're used to living that city girl life and you're ready to come back in and settle down,
Too
you're
late.
gonna devalue yourself. And the man gonna be like, oh, well, why I'm gonna get with you when you already get to everybody else?
Absolutely.
this
Community. You
Yeah.
belong
this
to the
entire
community.
economy is based on, is driven by the fact that we're single. Black folk we contribute 1.2 or 1.3 trillion dollars to the United States economy. Do you not know that black folk collectively have more money than 10 European countries? We have more money than Russia, than
Yes.
the country of Russia. Black
Yeah.
folk do in this country. There
Yeah.
is a whole. My next show is always it's titled Conspiracy or Economics. Is it a conspiracy or economics? There is a whole the United States system. The entire system itself is designed to keep this group of people single.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a
Because
book about it
guess
that
what?
Dan
Guess what
Rather
can
made.
happen? They can
Yep.
sell you a house and sell me a house. They can sell Miss Pearl a car and me a car. You know what I'm saying? 2 sets of insurances, 2 sets of groceries, 2 sets of everything.
Yeah, there was a book written in the 70s. I think it was like 72 or 73 that the whole plot was to break up the African American family because
It's
it would
economic.
be
That was the thing.
financially beneficial for the United States.
Yes.
You really want to get technical about it, before they did that in the 70s and all that, when it was 2 people in the home, what jobs did most black people have? They had
Well, first of all,
trade jobs.
well,
Yeah.
most black people didn't. Prior to 1965, 80% of black women were housewives.
Yes.
Mhm.
They were housewives. So black women didn't have no job. Your job was what it was supposed to be.
Take care of home.
Yep. And let me tell you something. You do it right, that's a job.
That's a job. I respect it.
It's a
That ain't no fake job. That's a job. That's
Yeah,
a
but
for
we've
real
been
job.
convinced that means we're weak.
Yeah,
we,
That's what it is.
Or means you're a
And I'm telling
slave. You're a slave.
Or,
to-
you know,
I'm just
yeah,
letting you know,
and-
our parents, we bought lock, stock, and barrel into feminism. So that's how that went.
Well, I feel that everyone has a role and there's a purpose for that role. You can ignore that
Yep.
role all you want, but that natural,
But
what
there's
you
a
are
consequence
created
to that.
for, yeah.
But
I-
our mother's toxic. Yes, we have toxic moms out here, and they can produce some of the worst outcomes out here. But I don't think, as a whole, mothers are toxic. It's just I believe what they're doing. It's because they're by themselves and they're out of balance.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to their boys. And sometimes you
Absolutely.
need dad to get mama off of their daughter because mama knows the little slick stuff that girls pull. Because guess what she is?
a
Gotta
slick.
get your mama.
Yeah, so mama sometimes might go a little real too rough on. There's a reason why they got dad that when mom's going real extremely hard on the daughter, dad's got to come in and be like, okay, man,
Yes, it's a balance.
It's that
That's a problem.
balance.
There's a
Again.
reason why when dad is literally got his son jacked up against the wall and want to nail
It's
him
a
to it,
balance.
and mama goes, okay, I think he gets it.
Mhm.
It's the
But-
balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've identified what a toxic mom is. And when you're a toxic mother, if you realize, something's not right with me, how do we start to make that change? Because identifying is only one step.
Well, that's
How
the
do
first
we
step.
make that
The
change?
first step to recovery is admittance. The first step of AAA
Absolutely.
is to admit. But here's the kick in the pants with people who share our reflection, Miss Black Plural, is there's not yet a large enough volume of us that are willing to come to say that. Let me tell you something. I know single moms get real defensive about the fact that they're single, especially the ones that have had multiple kids by multiple men. Let me tell you something. You can't do nothing about it, but you're gonna have to own it.
Yeah.
You got to own that you did that, you made that mistake, and that any guy that's going to come in, you got to be honest about the fact that if he's coming into you, he's taking on more than you're taking on.
Yeah.
And you got to show him that. You got to show him that you respect that. And a lot of our women are still not at the point where they think it's no big deal. I said last night that our women have no idea what they're asking of our men.
I agree.
You don't know what
and we
you're
break
asking
you
about.
guys down. We break you guys down.
Man to tell me one time, he said, "You just barely made it," and I said, "What you mean?" You got 2 kids by 2 different men. He said, "But what makes it not look so bad for you is your kids are 7 years apart." And
Yeah, I have, and all 3 of my kids belong to the same person, and I still used to have issues when I tried to 3 for 1 guy. Oh, I don't know about that. So
both of them.
Hey, it's tough.
I mean, it's tough, but Black Pearl, in the larger scheme of things, you believe it or not, you're in a better situation than the woman that has multiple baby daddies.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still tough no matter what, because most guys don't want to come. Let me tell you something, because you don't really, as a guy coming in there, you really don't have full control, and then somebody else has a say in your house. That's hard for a lot of guys to swallow.
Yeah, and it's just not natural. Like, just in nature.
It's not
Animals
nature,
don't
and a
do
lot of our
that,
women
man.
don't want to accept the fact that it's not natural. It's not natural for a man to raise for a animal to raise another animal.
absolutely agree.
It's not natural, but we try to make it natural, and then we try to hit our guys upside the head that gives some pushback about it. That's not natural.
We bring them into a situation and teach our children in some situations not to respect that man either.
Yeah. I talked about that last
that.
night, that I did that with my grandma growing up. I tortured
and
that
I
man.
think that as a woman, when I divorced my husband, I backed away from dating for a while because I didn't want to put anyone through that, and I also didn't want to bring someone in and then they left, and then my kids had to go through that again. And my kids are grown now. My baby's about to be 18 in a week, so
and that's good. Yeah, things.
I just had to back away. It's just
good now.
Yeah,
you good now.
But here's the thing too. I would like to give any advice to any woman that has children, that you try to convince them that you have to understand something. If you got a guy that's going to come in, you got to have some hellified boundaries with that kid's father.
Shoot.
Because you don't want to ruin or disrupt or make that current guy that you really think is about something to look at you sideways because of this dude.
Absolutely.
Men, let me let you in a little secret, ladies, that I think you already know. Men are extremely territorial.
Yes. Yes.
And don't let one of us have a kid with you.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
we are very
I kind of avoided that one.
And we're very territorial. And the men that have kids with you, and it has nothing to do if they still want you or not. They'll try to blow it up just because they can. Because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I seen that all the time, man. My buddies.
But see, the thing is, the hard thing is to when you're the outside, call yourself the outside guy, trying to tell that woman, look, I know what he's doing because I'm a dude. I know what he's doing. Yeah, no, he might not like you, but he's doing it because he can. And you cannot allow this man to have that kind of influence. So I tell ladies all the time, make sure you got that in order, because if you got something decent, you will ruin it by just not understanding the boundary. And if he has such a problem, then he should have kept his butt in the house with him and his kid.
Yeah.
Or found a way.
Well, I see we went over an hour.
We are over an hour. So, hey, look, so we started on time. We ended on CP time. That's how I like it.
It was a good
That's how I like
conversation.
Hey, Miss Candy, I got one thing to say.
The conversation was good.
Miss Candy,
the conversation was good.
When you get a dude that you think you about to get, I don't know what your situation is, but you come real serious with a dude and your kid's father, know what you do? You build a suggestion box, put it next to the mailbox, and put daddy suggestions, and that's all the input he gets. He gets to come by, put a note in, and then
I'm so thankful because my youngest daughter, daddy, we are very great friends. He's very easy to get along with. His only concern is he would tell a person quit. He be like, I ain't got nothing to do with Candace's business. It doesn't affect my daughter. And if you say yes, then that's when he says something. If you say no, he like, it ain't none of my business. That you got to deal with that with her. So I'm thankful that we have that rapport. It's the kids I'd be worried about. Because my 14-year-old be like, if they ain't trying to help you pay no bills, he can't look at my Apple TV.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, Apple TV. Oh, see me in this.
Oh, no, wait, no, we're about to go to a whole nother
boy.
conversation.
Yeah, boy, but-
You
We
right.
gotta bring Candy and TJ back.
Man,
So
we
can have that
gotta bring y'all back. Hey, look, hey, TJ, hey, you didn't disappoint. You did not disappoint. Hey, I just sat back and took it in, man. It's all good, man. Hey, so look, so we're gonna get out of here. We get your last final thoughts, and I'll let so we'll let our guests go first. Mr. Bravado, what are your final thoughts?
Here's what I think my final thoughts are. We got a long way to go. We do have a long way to go. We gotta quickly come to the conclusion that we got to get over ourselves, meaning we got to put our pride aside, because they always say, the black family is going extinct. No, it's already extinct. We're gonna have to rebuild it. There is no such thing as a black family. When you got 75% of the black women as single mothers and heads of households, a woman and children does not make a family. So we got to put our pride aside. I'm a big fan of grace and mercy, which means we're going to have to extend beyond what we're comfortable with if the core of that person is worth something. Our black men are going to have to come in and become stepfathers. So our women, you're going to have to make it worth it. I know that sounds kind of crazy to y'all sometimes, but you're going to have to make it worth it for the guy to come in there and take on a responsibility that's not his. And he's willing to do it because he's with you. He's willing to do it. Make it worth it to him. Make it worth it to him. Give him more than what you ever thought you would ever give anybody else. Because once upon a time, being a stepfather was probably the highest honor that you could have in this country. Because normally, if there was a stepfather, that means the actual father was dead.
Yeah.
That's what it used to mean. So we got to kind of get back to that. And I'm glad these conversations, no matter how big or small the platforms are, we're starting to have them. And our generation is the generation that's coming to this is messed up. Yeah. So I'm sorry for going on a little bit longer rant. I could continue to go for another hour, but I know we got to go.
Oh yeah, well, I've been on your lives. They'd be long now.
So. We go 2 hours, boy. We go 2 hours.
We on that thing for a minute. All right, Candy. What are your final thoughts for tonight?
I think that just to piggyback off TJ, we have a lot of accountability to take. We got to start being accountable for our behaviors, our actions. We have to admit that we need to heal as a whole. We have to unprogram this toxicness that we have been taught these past decades and really get back to what we used to have. Like, I'm not saying like go back to old ways, but I'm saying as far as that foundation or whatever. And when it comes to women, women have to start showing value in themselves. Like, no, I cannot give you this for nothing, or I cannot accept the bare minimum when I know I'm greater than that. But at the same time, I know I'm gonna get some backlash for this. I'm tired of being a strong, independent black woman. I want to be a strong, dependent woman with a man, with a manly man, with a masculine man, a man that know how to change tires and know how to fix stuff. And he doesn't have to be the most educated man, but he has morals. He's family oriented. He adores me. But we had to accept us mothers that have kids that are not this man. We have to get our dynamics in order for things to go like it's supposed to naturally. We gotta go back to some old times. And most black women always say men are narcissists. It's women that's narcissists too. And they don't even want to admit to it.
A lot more than y'all know.
Exactly. Because we got so many mothers that's out here that's looking for that man and their son. Your son can't be your boyfriend. Sorry. It ain't gonna work. Okay. It's just not gonna work. You can't. I'm sorry, Miss Sally. Raekwon is not your man. Sally. He's mine. Gone south
I cannot.
level.
I cannot.
Okay,
I can't.
okay.
We
All
got
right.
back to the basics.
All right, Dr. Roy Rain, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
So my final thought is to all of the children out there that have never heard these words that I'm about to say to you, which is I'm sorry. I'm sorry because you have so much on you. I'm sorry that things are the way they are, but the encouraging word from me to you is simply, if you're a child under the age of 18 and you're living in a household where things are not the very best because of the dynamic and again, I'm going to use the word, the toxic, because toxic deteriorates a person because of that toxic relationship that is going on in your home. Loves, I'm so sorry. But the encouraging word is this: one day it's going to get better. But while you're in it, I need you to connect to mentors. I need you to connect to positive people that are going to pour into you and build you up and let you know that you are somebody, that you are worth your value. You have the ability to be greater than you ever thought you could be. And then secondly, once you get out of that house and you're able to stand on your own, do it with confidence and begin to set those boundaries for yourself. And do not allow yourself to be drawn back in, because again, toxic mothers use manipulation. And so there's going to be a pattern where things going to seem like it's okay. And then that old, I'm going to say that old devil, but that old devil, them stripes going to pop back out and you're going to see it. And when you see it, I need you to be able to put that wall back up, take a step back and put that distance that you need in order for you to maintain your balance and your well-being from now until eternity. That's my word.
Okay.
Y'all was deep tonight.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Black Pearl, what you got? What are your final thoughts?
I got to come up from all this deepness. I think really it's just about healing. I know it seems so simple. I think the thing that we tend to not say is it's not easy to heal. It hurts. You go through things, but it's worth it and it's necessary. I think more importantly, what we as women, and I can only speak on behalf of a woman, we forget to forgive ourselves for the choices that we made, and we hold on to it, and it turns into the poison that's actually killing us, silently. So we know healing, we know all that other stuff, but we need to start with forgiving ourselves for the choices that we made that we thought would be better than the results that we got. So that's all I have.
All right, man. My final thoughts, man. I'm not going to be long, but this was great, man. I'm just appreciative of everybody that came on tonight. I mean, my final thought is I think we got to get back to more community, because we've lost the community, man, and more of just really coming together. The single motherhood, single parents, we got to get back to having families and making that like a thing that we like actually aim for. This summer of being hot girl summer and all this stuff, this definition of insanity, man, it's not working for us. It's not working for us. So I think we got to get back to that, man. So wanting to benefit us as a group and stop being so much individuals. And look, and everybody's not equal. We're not the same. I see it like men and women. It's like, it's like water and fire. They're not the same, but they're both vital and they work together. You can't have life without either. You got to have the sun, the fire, you got to have the water, so, we got to stop fighting each other and trying to, take each other's roles and kind of get back to the natural order of things, because there is a natural order of things.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry to tell you, but there's a natural order and I'm all for it. So that's my take on it tonight. Man, I appreciate Mr. Bravado. I know this is a short one for you because I know You used to them 3-hour lives. You know, which are good. I'll be in there watching them.
Not quite 3 hours, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying them. Hey, so look, you guys check out at the bottom, all right, the Real Bravado Network. Great content, you know, very insightful. As you heard tonight, man, the brothers got some good insights.
Absolutely.
He's got some good guests. I think one of them fussed at me when I went on there. It was fun. She was about to get, he saved me. She was about to get me, but he saved me. So check it out, man. Lively conversations, man. Real good stuff. And so, Candy, hopefully you come back on some more, you know. And if you're in North Carolina in the Greenville area, right, you know, she does hair. She does a fire job at hair. I'll be seeing her do all kinds of stuff. You know, I ain't gonna name. I might name the wrong thing. I don't know hair like that, but she gets busy with hair game.
Locks
You
and
know. Locks and what?
locks and haircut.
Locks and hair. See, I was about to say bobs and weaves and
Oh
microwaves.
no.
Yeah, I can't do it without you. That's not my thing.
Oh, okay, all right. You know, we promote Black business at any moment here, right?
We
do.
It's all about
We do.
that. Group economics now. Group economics. All right. So, man, so we can get out of here. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. All right, and we'll see. The ladies will be on Sunday, right?
Sunday at 6.
Sunday at 6. And my veteran guys will be popping up. We're gonna hammer a time, man. We gotta get a time set for those guys, man. We're gonna pop up and give our conversation, talk a little trash, have a little fun. That's more the lighthearted night normally. All right. So check us all out, man. The Good Guy Experience, where the experience is always good. Peace.